Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment or medications if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here. Visit bewelltexas.org.
Andy, the only thing that says Squarin around that touches this body is made by Elite Sports, baby. You know where to get it, elitesports.com. They have a full slate of athletes that they also support. Use code SQUARE, get 10% off. What do you have to say about the fine folks that we got at Elite Sports?
I think the coolest thing about Elite Sports is they have customized stuff for the athletes. I always think it's cool when athletes have their own merch brand, and they've done an incredible job of supporting the athletes at Texas State in the past and in the future. And as NIL gets bigger and bigger, it's important to have a partner that is going to help make sure our athletes stay at Texas State. Elite Sports does that.
My favorite thing is that vintage Ben McClain shirt that I have. They do that stuff from time to time. So I'm going to probably scoop another athlete here in a little bit for these cold months. You know, might as well rock our stuff. Support the brand, elitesports.com. Use code SQUARE at checkout.
Jacob, there's a reason they call it home field advantage, and it's because of home field apparel. They make sure that you feel like you have an advantage when it comes to your college and your college brand. Look, they do a great job. I grew up a Minnesota Golden Gopher fan, a West Virginia Mountaineer fan. We're going to get the Texas State gear at some point, but they have so many different colleges. They got hats, they got shirts. You do not want to miss it. And let me tell you, the shirts, immaculate. They are the softest shirts I've ever had, Jacob. They're so great.
I'm not giving up on home field. Neither should you. Use code SQUARE at checkout. Support the brand, baby. I hate playing away games too. You're right. Who would want to sacrifice home field advantage?
I feel like I'm in home field advantage every time I'm wearing home field apparel.
Tired of winning the tailgate but losing the games? We can't help that. But we can tell you what the hell is up with each team and what's going on across sunny San Marcos. Texas State fans, get on your feet. You're listening to Squarin' Around with Jacob Rodriguez and Andrew Zimmel.
First off, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who's put us in their Spotify Wrap. If Squaring Around is in your top 4 or 5 or 1 or 2 of podcasts that you listen to, I really appreciate you.
I guess somebody asked me the other day, they were like, do you still do the podcast? And I was like, yeah, dog. It's on the ROF feed. Where have you been, my man?
Damn.
Even not, I guess we're really like a YouTube channel at this point because we're like video first, you know?
Yeah, sadly.
Sadly? What do you mean, sadly?
I'm a radio guy.
I like that sweatshirt. Where'd you get that?
Thanks. I don't know. I don't know where I got it.
I don't know.
Christmas present, I guess.
What the hell kind of answer is that?
I don't know. See,
tell you welcome to my life. Welcome to my life, beautiful TV boy. I got a rash going on my face.
Is it a stress rash? What do you got going on?
I don't know. I guess it could be stress related. Everything comes back to the Emmys. When I won that stupid statue, my life went downhill, bro.
It really did. Where do we want to start with that? You want to start with the rash or you want to apologize?
A rash of bad things. Apologize for what? I didn't do anything wrong.
For jumping in dudes' DMs.
Dude, that guy, I'll pay one. I don't give a
That's 2. No, you can't just be jumping in dudes' DMs. If he DM'd you, to full scope here, Jacob Rodriguez broke big news. GJ Kinne's contract signed back in November.
Apparently, Zim, it's what anybody could do. Anybody is free to do it.
Well, so apparently signed back in November, which according to Kelly Danfus a week ago, it was not signed. It was still up in the ether. Kind of interesting. We'll get to the Kinne. Is he going to go to UCF? Is he not? Conversation here in a bit. But Jacob, good reporter, Squaring Around Pod, breaking the news, put the contract out there. Pocket watcher Jacob does what he does best. Pocket watches. People were a little upset. They said anybody could do it. We've always said we've been a very big anybody can do this podcast. We've never been like it's only Jacob and I that could do it. Anybody could get a FOIA, get a microphone, get a camera, get some video editing equipment, and do a podcast. We've never said that you couldn't do it. However, people online want to get in Jacob's mentions, want to get in the Squarin mentions and say that anybody could do it, which, to be fair, is a corner we've been on.
Yeah.
Now, Jacob, I'll let the floor you have the floor. Defend jumping into dudes' DMs.
Well, okay.
Because I offered, but I would like to point out, I gave you the option to apologize first, but now, because you don't want to apologize,
I don't know anybody an apology.
You're going to defend your actions of jumping into strangers' DMs. Okay, please go.
Which I know is the harder thing to do, because you're probably like, Jacob, you're better than that. You don't need to do that.
You are.
Nah, guess what? At the end of the day, I'm still a brown boy from the valley, and you can't talk to me that way online, Buster. Bah, bah. I want to remind everybody that listens to the show, if you actually have a problem with me, pull up to 10th Planet San Antonio's open mat on Sundays from noon to 2 p.m., and we can for real get it in, if that's what you're really about.
I have said for years.
But guess what?
Do not argue on the internet.
This is the real world, Andrew. And when people forget who they're talking to, I had friends legitimately message me the next day and go, "Where are we going to get this guy?" And I was like, yo, chill out.
It's never that serious. That's why
not
I'm
that
like,
serious, of course. But hey, who's doing this right now? Shut up, Andrew. This is my moment to shine. All right. Okay. So I break the news, right? Whatever. Again, sure, anybody could do that, but does anybody do this for this university? No. It's always been me and Andrew that are doing stuff like this. And if you did it in the past, congratulations, but this is our time, Buster, so shut up too. And guess what? If you want to keep doing it, do it. If you think you could do it better than us, try. You probably can't, to be frank. I'm a better writer than most people. I do a great job at what I do because I have a damn award over here about it. And this is the same thing, when people get mad at our players for making penalties or sometimes getting in people's faces. Some people are like, yo, they should be better than that. You know what? This is the real life, man. You gonna let another grown man disrespect you? What do you stand on? And how does it all come full circle back to the athletics world? It's dude, shut the F up, all right? And first of all, I'm not even anti-Bobcat. If some other Bobcat was doing this, I fully support everybody else covering the team too. But guess what? I'm not going to attack somebody for doing something wrong either.
We've given shout outs before. We've had people on the pod. We've invited people on the pod before. So I don't necessarily think you're wrong there. However,
don't forget who you're talking to, basically, is what I'm saying. Because I'm a real one and I'll handle something.
I will say that if you want to come at me in the mentions or the DMs, that's fine. Do it.
Yeah. I will say, will that be the last time I do that? Probably. That was a little bit of a crash out moment.
There you go. Okay, that's all.
Am I proud of what I did? Actually, yes, because I didn't swear at this gentleman once in our interactions. I disagreed with what he thought was a cheap buyout, which is just under $4 million. Which I told him, I was like, if you got $4 million, hand it over to the athletics department if it's that much of a thing to you.
I do like, and we're not going to put the screenshots up, but there was a chance for Jacob to pull a real Zimmel. And dude,
I apologized to him actually too. Man to man. I DM'd this man and I was like, yo, my bad if, I came at you sideways or whatever. But, he just kept swearing at me. So I was like, all right, cool.
I will say that you pulled a real Zimmel moment. You were kind of condescending. You said, I'll pray for you, brother. I hope things were working out.
I did. Yeah.
And
I told him, I was like, I hope you genuinely find something that lights a fire in you.
And that is a page right out of the Zimmel playbook. It drives Jacob up the wall when I do it to him. So I'm glad that he was able to use it on somebody else.
It's funny coming from Zimmel because he doesn't even go to church, everybody. This is a mystique, a third-degree Knight of Columbus who doesn't go to church. Okay.
I went this weekend.
Enough about my paltry ways, right?
Oh, obviously, the crash out.
There's some. It wasn't a crash out, really. Even
you tweeted about it. You put it on the Instagram story.
Does that count?
I would say it's a crash out. I'd say it's a crash out.
Whatever.
That's fine, and we're moving past it though.
We're moving past it.
It's one of those things where it feels like it has to be addressed.
Yeah. Whatever.
You're the editor. You can cut the whole thing out. Start the whole thing from scratch.
No, I could, but it's just like it was just dumb because like people can think they can get away with that, and it's like, no, you can't, you know?
You 100%
I'll
can. Come at
I might
me,
cut that
come
part.
on the DMs. It's fine. I don't care, dude. I have had people who disagree with the flag planting take that I had. I've had other people like the thing
That's
is,
the other thing
I
too.
try to
We're gonna get mad at planting
I
flags. We're talking about a game based
I
on
try
unreal
to
and unexpected circumstances that is decided by young men across the country.
I
Like
try to
it's
tell everybody this. This is a lesson that I'm trying to tell everybody. You cannot win on the internet. If you genuinely disagree with what I have to say, you'll have my and I care about what you have to say to me about the take. You have my number. Text me, call me. Like but
that's
if
fair.
you don't have the number to call or text, like it's not really your opinion really isn't gonna like shatter me to the core. So I just keep
That's
it
fair.
moving and I understand that like this is a move that we won't do in the future. So I apologize to I forget the young man's name that Jacob jumped in.
Young man,
But
I don't think he's young. I think he's an old fart.
well, I'm trying to be the bigger person here. So that's fine. We'll keep it moving.
Nah, his name is. No, I'm not gonna air it out like that. But I already apologized. Is the thing, and he kept coming at me, and I was like, "All right, cool, bro, we're done. It's whatever." The
Yeah.
main deal was like I was trying to explain the buyout and how I thought it was a better move for the university than the last contract. Because it is. If you break it down and you do the math and you subscribe to the newsletter, I broke it all down for you. My lovely, beautiful babies who subscribe to the newsletter, this was not at all about any of you guys. I love you to the ends of the earth. This was about some.
All right. So the buyout. Let's get to the buyout.
Yeah, to the buyout. Well, let me just pull up my work. So if you all remember, we've signed this dude in 2022 to come over to Texas State, right?
GJ Kinne, yes.
DJ Kinne. Sorry, I bought a Turnpike shirt. I bought all this stupid stuff online the past few days. This is like the biggest like deal that like has changed in the stuff for GJ Kinne. In 2022, he was paid 800,000 to coach. His buyout, and there's a difference between the buyout and the resignation clause. The buyout is basically like what the school would pay to get him out of the deal, and the resignation clause is like what he would pay, basically, or
Mhm.
he or the other entity
The other
that is
school,
trying to
yes.
hire him. Yeah, exactly. Um, it's separated like that. Sometimes it can be confusing when you're reading or you're asking Chat GPT to like, what does this mean? You know? And sometimes these PDFs are encrypted too. So if you search like certain things on it, you won't be able to find it because it'll just show up as like lorem ipsum, whatever, you know?
Mhm.
Um, but whatever. In that year, the first year, the very first contract that he had, his buyout was like 50% of the remaining guaranteed salary. So if we didn't like him and it was like a 5-year deal or something like that, I think, if he had 3 years left on that contract, the buyout would be like 1.2 million, you know, because it's 50% of the guaranteed total of
Mhm.
the contract, you know. So we re-upped him in 2023, and it not a whole lot changed apart from his bag. He went from 800K to 1 million. He became the first millionaire sitting head coach at Texas State. And then the buyout changed from 50% to 75%. So kind of the same terms. So to put that into perspective, if he had 3 years left on that deal at $1 million annually, that would be $2.25 million, you know? So
Mhm.
pretty good, pretty good. Um, now he's like making like just shy of like $2 million this first year of this new deal, which starts in I think 2025 maybe. But his buyout in year one is 3.75 million, and the buyout year two is 3.4, and the buyout in year three is 2.4. So it's like tiered and it keeps going down
Mhm.
and it gets capped at like 500,000. And you're like, well, what the heck? Why is Texas State doing that? I hypothesize that Texas State wants to continue extending him like year to year, basically. We could talk about an extension maybe next year or the year before, but it gives Texas State 2 years to really look at concretely restructuring this entire deal to kind of put him on like Jeff Traylor status, where he's like, what is that, like a 10-year deal for like
Something like that, yeah.
stupid money? But basically, like every time Texas State has to go to the Board of Regents anyway, you know? So that's like, it's all part of like the process. But I hypothesize that this is not the
Theorize.
the last extension, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it's not a
Yeah.
theory, you know, I guess. But he's gotten 2 extensions year to year, like year one, year two.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
I think he gets another raise next year, to be honest.
I don't love the fact that it is a year-to-year type of thing because I don't like the knee-jerkish reaction to it. I don't think President Danfus or AD Don are knee-jerk type of people. However, when it is year-to-year like that, the fans can kind of call it year-to-year or get up in arms about things. The other part is it's not hard in the current climate of college football. Now, GJ's a younger coach, but it's not hard in the current climate of football for things to go really bad really quick. All it takes is one of your coordinators to get snatched or a player to go down or an unforeseen circumstance. And now all of a sudden you have like a couple bad years in a row. It puts a lot of pressure, not only on GJ Kinne, but on the program in general to be successful. I would argue that this year's expectations are only going to be amplified due to this deal. But the thing that caught my attention about this is not necessarily the Texas State getting rid of the coach, because I don't think that that's going to happen. It's the coach wanting to leave somewhere else and Texas State making a bag off of that. Because if you can make money off your coach leaving, that is a huge plus in college football, because now I can take that money and turn around and pay it to somebody else. And God forbid, and we'll get to this in a second, but let's say GJ does leave this offseason, post-bowl season, because it doesn't look like that, knock on wood, it doesn't look like it's going to happen as of this recording that he's leaving before the bowl game. But let's say he leaves after the bowl game. You now can turn that money into somebody else, and you go potentially hire somebody else if you need to, and that starting salary will be probably like $1.1 million, which isn't bad.
Yeah. I guess the opposite too. Like I was saying, that if the university cuts ties with GJ in this first year, especially, but I think the total buyout from that side, if Texas State were to be like, get out of here, nobody wants you, old Yeller style,
and the other
would be like north of $8 million.
And the other part of this is too, there's probably like a morality clause somewhere in there about like if you I don't know, hit a puppy with a car, right, and drive away. I guarantee you that there's a way for them to get out of the contract without paying a ton of money. It would just be, do you not like this coach anymore? We don't like your winning percentage. That I don't think is going to happen.
It's basically like you have to be in good standing with the league and the university.
Yeah.
Different things. And there's like a sort of evaluation process. And people have been asking me, oh, can you just post the PDF, bro? No. You know why? Because it's so easy to do what I do. So go ahead and do it yourself. I actually offered to write this for Dave Campbell's, but they were like, nah, because then we're going to have to start writing about every dang contract that comes through. And I was like, that's fair.
That's a fair point. That's a very fair
Andrew,
point.
Everybody could do it. So, I mean, go ahead if you want to do it at home.
Hey, it's one of those things. Well, yeah, freelance writing, right?
Yeah.
I would
subscribe to our newsletter, and I break it down
for Dave Campbell. I would say that it's not worth their time to break down every contract that comes through, because at first he started like Division I, then it goes to Division II. Now I'm doing high school coaches, and like, could you just imagine
those are the juiciest, the high school ones.
Yeah, you think so?
But yeah, it's your tax dollars, baby. Well, I mean, the whole thing is your tax dollars, really. That's
good.
Let's be honest. But I mean, like at the local level, you can start to see like the true impact of it. Like, oh, wow, that guy's got to load it out dually. What the heck?
How much did your AD make in McAllen?
Made like $200,000, bro. He was balling.
I was gonna say, because I think ours made like upward. I think it was like 120,000, 130,000, which is insane.
He's the head football coach and the AD.
Yeah. But it's really the head football coach, because like, what is the AD really doing except buying like new cross country uniforms every 7 years?
Well, dude, one time he picked me up in his arms when I run. I won a track meet. My legs were like linguini.
His legs is like linguini.
I haven't cooked out a better homes than this. I'll be back.
I was like being helped off the track, and he picked me up in his arms. It was a very big jump.
Remind me, the cross country is what, 2 miles?
Cross country? 3. But track, I was a 400 guy.
Okay. So there was a flight tracker who watched a private jet fly from Orlando to Austin. When you saw that, was your first initial reaction, oh my God, we're losing our coach? Or was it, who's going to Orlando for Thanksgiving?
I don't know. Because it is very possible. You and I talked about this even before we got the contract on Monday. We actually had I had an amazing newsletter that I was going to send out before we got the contract. It was beautifully written. It was all this stuff.
Can I just say this similar thing happened to me,
And I was
but it was during the NBA offseason one year. I had this whole thing about Chris Bosh going to Houston, and then he re-signed with Miami. I was very upset. Anyway, please continue.
Dude, it reminded me of the Sam Houston game where I wrote 5 different things. I literally wrote 5 different things. It would have honestly helped if I had gotten that contract and then just wrote something for Dave Campbell's, then started tweeting. Next time, and this is on me, I'll go slower and break it down. But it's so easy to do what I do, so, anybody can do it. So.
Please, we need you to move past this.
Yeah, I know. Listen, that's the last time y'all see me crash out. Hand to God.
Okay.
The Lord is my shepherd.
We went back and forth with it. We'll bring the conversation to the pod. I said that it makes sense for UCF to be going after a Texas coach after Kellner went to Temple, which I didn't quite get. The head coach of Sam Houston, Keeler. I didn't quite understand Keeler going to Temple. That didn't make a ton of sense to me.
He just wants a bag, bro. That's all that guy has been about for a while.
I don't think. Well, you don't think he had an exit ramp earlier in his career?
Well, I can't tell you this part. I'm gonna have to cut this part of the pod.
I didn't understand the move to Temple. I understand the move to UCF more because UCF now is in a Texas-centered football conference in the Big 12. You'd want to go get a coach who's coached in the state of Texas and who can recruit well in the state. However, this is where I get kind of caught in the weeds. I love GJ Kinne. GJ Kinne is not a great high school football recruiter to this point. I don't think I would not put him.
He's been making some moves right now.
He is. We're recording this on National Signing Day.
All right. Super excited about the incoming guys and the guys we've signed. A lot of work, a lot of resources put into bringing all these guys in, and a lot of phone calls, a lot of text messages, a lot of relationships, and just a lot of work that goes into signing this many kids, and really excited about the class that we signed. Not only they're on the field play, but I think, just the character and everything that goes in with being a student athlete at Texas State. I think these guys fit the bill. I think it's probably the first time we've had last year, I guess, but this feels like more like, okay, like our guys, our class kind of put our stamp on it, no rush. And so feel really good about these guys, and obviously 2 JUCO guys, and a couple of loose ends out there, high school and JUCO that we're still got to tidy up. But
it's a lot more high school players than we've seen recently. Even going back to some of your classes, the last couple of years, it's almost as many as the 2 classes combined in this one. Was that something that was pretty important to you going into your 3rd year? And how nice is it to add players that you can develop, as you were saying, and give them like a full time to grow?
It was almost like I knew there was going to be a contract extension, along the way, and I could sign a bunch of high school kids, that had something to do with it, you're in year 3, and that's been the plan all along. Is hey, we had to bring in a bunch of portal guys early, had to go and win games, and how do you recruit caliber guys like this? Is you got to win games. No one wants to, it's funny the amount of guys that committed after the Southern Miss game and the guys that committed after the Georgia State game. They seem to like to commit a lot more after the Southern Miss game in that environment. So. I think you see that a lot with these guys, with the wins that we've had in state and the records that we've had. I think that's a product of signing, of being able to sign guys like this. So, it's been the plan all along, but also, I think as a head coach, and you see it around the country, when you're one of those coaches that, if I got one more year left, or I got to win, it's a win now situation, then you're going to go all out on those portals. When you be able to build it the right way and bring in the high school kids, and you feel like you have more time to do that, that's what we're going to do.
Jacob is very firm in you have to wear a Bobcat jersey before we talk about you.
Not even touching this stuff. I'll let Kev tweet about it.
I get it, but at the same time,
I even joined Spaces, and they were like, "Oh man, got good recruits," and I was like, "Yo, I don't even know who's signed to us at this point. I'll look in January."
Yeah, I mean, and look, that's
what I do when you and me take our 2-week Christmas New Year's break. That's what I'll do. I'll get to recruiting. I'll go to therapy. We'll figure out my anger management issues.
We'll get to the Christmas break here in a second, but I understand the GJ Kinne intrigue here. The other thing is, of course, you're going to take a meeting. Like, there's no way. The same way that if the Mountain West or the Pac-12 calls Kelly Danfus, he's going to pick up the phone. If you're GJ Kinne, or more importantly, I would like to remind everybody, GJ Kinne's agent, you're going to take that call every day of the week, because it is the average salary. We looked it up. The average salary of a Big 12 coach is like $5 million, which would be a massive pay raise. And you have two younger kids. You live in Orlando. I imagine you're getting some Disney World passes thrown in there. I'm just guessing.
That's pretty fun.
So I just look at it like that. Like, okay, clearly you're going to take that phone call. I don't think he's leaving, especially when you consider the signing day that they've had to this point. It seems like he's been telling guys to, like, lock in.
He's like, I will tell you, wearing around tweeted the other day. I'm here.
I'll tell you that on my end, I don't know how much you keep up with UTSA. On my end, I've only heard bad things about their NIL money and the fact that they bring guys in who immediately are like, I want to make more money. Is there a chance for me to make more money? UTSA has had a couple guys go to the league recently in the last like 5-6 years. Texas State, not so much so. So you would think that they'd be able to kind of make that as a selling point. The selling point right now for Texas State seems to be the NIL money's there potentially, and our head coach is here to stay. So that feels pretty good as a recruiting pitch.
You know who has a Sincere McCormick in our league? It's your boy.
How's that paid off?
It's not going to pay off.
I would like, if we want to do that.
I hope it pays off.
Here. Let's do that here. The record for most points scored in a loss, like the biggest loss in our league's history, was 88 points until this week, where we upped the ante to 98 points. I beat Jacob by 98 fantasy points this week.
It's good that Zimmel can win in fantasy sports. We had a different sort of fantasy. We had a different fantasy sports off last week where I put up a poll where if I was a pass rusher and you were a lineman.
What those results look like for you, by the way?
All right.
What those results look for you, by the way?
If the size of us, Zimmel, if you didn't beat me very convincingly, I would be very concerned for you. But
so why even put it out there? This honestly goes back to the beginning of the crash out, because that was the first, because it was just out of the blue. You're talking crazy to me. I was like, what is going on here?
I just texted you. And you got all,
I was like, what are you talking about? It didn't make any sense. And then you put the tweet up. I was like, what is going on with this guy?
For sure, I could get you in a pass rush situation. I can get to the quarterback 9 times out of 10.
All right. So clearly, this is a world that you live in solo by yourself.
What do you mean? Because there's pretty good numbers on that. I wasn't the only one.
It was like 75 to 25.
No, it was 60 to 30. Don't forget.
That's impossible. 90%. What was the other option? You're missing 10% there, math boy.
60 to 30. Hang on. We're going to act like this is a real scientific poll.
I'm just saying that doesn't add to 100. So like there's percentages missing.
Hey, I'm just saying, man. Look, check this out. This is the real stat. 33% Jacob, 67% Zimmel.
Okay.
So, I mean, pretty much, for all intents and purposes, it's 60-30. There was only 40 votes in this.
Vote on this pod. Comment below on YouTube.
If Jacob was a pass rusher and Andrew is a center, who wins a one-on-one and why? A lot of people want us to do the Oklahoma drill. We're not doing that.
Insane.
We are not doing that.
That's crazy.
Have you seen the spring break clips of girls doing
that?
Go!
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely not, brother.
So I was talking about this the other day with one of my coworkers. I was like, if I become a father and I have a daughter,
and you see her in an Oklahoma
I don't know, man. Like if you're just like on your phone on Facebook and you're like watching the spring break videos and you see your daughter doing Oklahoma drills, I don't watch it till the end of that. God. I don't.
You know, I live down there and I've never been over there during spring break.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, no, it's the worst place in the world possible.
Yeah. I think it's underrated. South Padre on spring break, underrated worst places to be for spring break.
Yeah, I think so. I've been to the Corpus
Did you watch
Christi
the game on Friday?
Oh, yeah, I did.
So what did you think of the announcers?
Well, everybody complains about this every week. Like, what are we talking about? Mute the dang thing, guys.
I think this was the worst one of the season. I'm willing to go out on a limb and say this is the worst one of the season.
That's fair.
Those announcers.
I haven't listened to a lot of them, to be honest.
Okay.
I watch games muted all the time over here.
I was talking to my dad about this because I was home for Thanksgiving and we were watching the game. And before the game started, I said to him, I'm going to get upset about this because I know they're not going to be immediately. I was like, I know they're not going to be impartial. It's going to be very much South Alabama side of things. And he was like, oh, it can't be that bad. By the first quarter, he was like, how do you do this every week? Because it is bad. It is very much one-sided to the point now where I am texting Brant Freeman, the play-by-play guy for Texas State's ESPN Plus, saying, why are you not more like on the Bobcat side? Because he's a consummate professional. Like he is very much down the middle. It does not matter what the game is. It could be Texas State versus the Martians. He's going to call the game fairly. I love him for it. That's very professional. But if we are going into every single fight with a hand tied behind our back, like when those guys tune in, I want them to be like, man, I can't believe the Texas State guy is like glazing that bad, because that's what they do. ULM and South Alabama, the South Alabama, ODU, we couldn't hear the game. So I'm not going to like
really,
or really. Well, what we did see, we didn't love.
That's fair. Yeah.
So I'm not going to give those guys as much grief, but it's been pretty much every road game plus Arizona State at home, where Matt Berry went to Arizona State and very much was on the side of the Sun Devils. So we came at a disadvantage this year for the guys calling our games being on our side. I just want to put that out.
Dude, talk about a get back game. Like that is one we should have sealed week 2, Arizona State.
Oh, yeah. And think how good of a win that would have looked now.
Now it would have been an insane resume builder. We had 4 possessions to seal it. We lost that game. I don't know who I assigned blame to last time. I think it was Mac Leftwich, but we got to take that one on the chin.
You know, this offseason we gave GJ Kinne a lot of grief about the goodwill like card. And I think Mac Leftwich this season, I like the guy a lot. He came on the podcast.
I probably made too many Waterboy references when talking about this offensive system, but like, when did you have your Mr. Pat Coach Klein moment? You know, were you like, oh, this is like what I'm trying to do, or like this is like kind of the vibe I'm going for? When was that, or like when was the very beginning of it?
So the very beginning was actually when I was playing at UTEP, when I first got it, like really excited about this offense or wanted to dig into it. And obviously it's a little bit different now than then, but so we're playing Rice one year when Coach Bailiff was actually the head coach at Rice. I'm a starting quarterback. And we're watching film. And again, at UTEP, you know, I think we averaged maybe on a good year, we were like a 24 point, you know, per game team. Like we were 22 personnel handing off power, and I was making all these crazy run checks and all, you know, under center all the time. And we play Rice. And so I'm getting ready for the game, and they had played Baylor early in the year when Baylor was, you know, scoring 50 points a game. They were throwing it around all over the place, winning 10 games. And so I'm watching the film, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so easy. These guys are run like 5 plays, and they're just running by people, throwing bombs. Like every run is a 15-yard run up the middle. And so from that point on, you know, just kind of the intrigue into that offense and the wide splits and the tempo and kind of all those things started, and was lucky enough to get around some people who knew a little bit about that offense. And, you know, now Coach Shoemaker, our O-line coach, you know, he was at Baylor at that time. So there's a lot of roots there. And GJ spent some time at UCF, who had been running kind of the Heupel version of that offense. You know, you kind of see some of our backgrounds in that sense, you know, come or shine through in the passing game a little bit, where we do have a little bit more variety than just like maybe your old school Baylor offense.
It's the offensive Oppenheimer over here, man. Like this is what's going on. It's like the San Marcos project, bro. This is crazy.
Yeah, I was on a call with somebody who, and they were saying that we need a name for our offense. So maybe you guys can come up with something that sticks.
I got it already. It's the Super Cat offense.
The Super Cat offense.
Yeah, named after the logo, you know.
Yeah, you guys just trademark that thing, and you can sell some merch.
I want him to come on again. I hope he does come on again. But I think there were some times this season where the Goodwill gift card was kind of up on him too.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Would you disagree?
And Dex McCoyle, you gonna max his
The defense was fine. I wasn't that concerned about it. I thought the defense played good.
What about the Sam Houston game, buddy? What about ODU?
All right, now here's the thing. All right, I think Dex is a good coach, but when you've never had a team, I don't think he's ever coached on a team like this where they're gonna get up by a lot of points. Your job is not to like play prevent or soft or cover zero. Like your job is to still go after the quarterback. Your job is still to like hit the A gap really hard. And I think there was some time. I think that there were some times where we were rotating guys in a little early. And by the way, I think this is the 8th consecutive year the Texas State secondary was depleted due to injuries. I think that we've gone like almost a straight decade of having a key secondary player get hurt. I don't know I don't know how you fix that problem, but it's not great.
I don't even know, because the whole Ben Bell thing is so weird to like analyze in that situation as well too. You lose a leader on your defense to either an injury or something else.
Now, hold on. Now, this is where we can get really. The transfer portal is, I guess, opened up. Dudes are decommitting and going into the transfer portal now. Connor Wegman famously.
I mean, you could do that at
A&M.
any time, but this is now the most opportune.
This is now the most opportunity. Regular season's done. Bowl season's starting. Guys are leaving their teams.
If Ben Bell makes
Ben Bell hasn't left
in the next couple of days, I might crash out again.
He hasn't left, so he might come back next year.
Who was saying that the whole time, bro?
But here's the thing: do you want him back?
Da Vinci?
Do you want him back?
I do, yeah. Or are you saying we should try to get somebody else better than him?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Guess what? There's going to be like 3 other guys that we do bring in who are his position group.
So why, if you he's a young man. Things can change. Why would you just not say it? Just tweet it. Hey, I'm here for the long term. Hey, I'm injured. Hey, put an injury red shirt on me. Why would you just not say that versus what we were doing now, which is like we're in limbo.
Could you imagine if he burns his last game of eligibility on the bowl game?
No way.
What do we say then?
There's zero shot that happens.
That would
zero
be
shot that
insane,
happens.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah, exactly. Zero shot that happens though. Bowl games. I want to get in. So there's clearly a good option that is very inconvenient to me, and a bad option.
Dude, I want to play like 2 weeks from now.
That will help me. So there's a bowl game in Dallas against UNT. I want to say it's like the Frisco Bowl. It's the coffee bowl.
Oh, the Scooters Coffee Bowl?
The Scooters Coffee Bowl or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't really even I don't care about the names anymore. What I go off of is the dates. When are we playing? And the one against UNT projected would be on like the 17th of December. So it's like a 2 p.m. game on a Tuesday, which would be so inconvenient. It'd be great for like.
I'm off though, actually.
I know you are. You don't work. But the rest of us, Bobcat Nation, could not go to a Tuesday game. I take
Dallas. My December sabbatical for everybody at home wondering how I got that off. I usually take the entire month of December off pretty much.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't love that for us. But it's a tough spot. And we don't know yet. They haven't announced it yet.
It's so inconvenient because this is all centered around TV stuff. And if we end up playing a game that's, again, another midweek game, I'm going to lose my mind. That's that Texas State would have played this.
Wouldn't that just be Texas State to play a midweek bowl game? The other option is
I know a lot of people are like, oh, man, Texas Tech. Do you think that even happened?
You were not playing Texas Tech. I have not seen one projection
I've
where
seen
we played Texas Tech.
Exactly just one.
I have not seen a single one that I actually pay attention to. Like I don't.
No,
I look at the ESPN one. I look at the
paying attention. I just see it on Twitter, and I'm like,
yeah,
whatever. Like I've seen it like a handful of times.
The other one is the Albuquerque Bowl, where Texas State would play Colorado State.
That'd be fun. Now, I know our boy Bruce is really rooting for that one.
But the problem in that regard is that we have to go to Albuquerque. Like we have to drive to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and like
you know what? Like I've seen the first one. That's great. It was a picturesque moment. Do I need to see the second one? If
RC, and now this is where things get interesting. So we have mutual friends who are very much like, if it's a Tuesday game, I can't go. If it's the Albuquerque game, I can go, and then vice versa. It's like I almost would rather have like, and again, Kelly Danfus, Don, cover your ears, cover your eyes. Bowl committee, cover your ears, cover your eyes. Watch party. I'm not against a watch party in San Antonio for a bowl game. I don't think that necessarily is a bad thing, because I kind of don't like, we've joked about like, I guess we got to go to Pensacola. I guess we got to go to the Idaho Potato Bowl. I work.
Do we?
I mean,
Yeah,
like, I have a job. I don't know.
Sucked. And everybody, like Kelly came on our podcast and was like, it was actually great that we played the day after Christmas. No, it didn't.
I will say it was tough. It was very tough for you. And it was tough for my car, because I drove.
You could have flown. You didn't fly.
No, well, come on. I'm flying from San Antonio to Dallas and back. Like, and it worked out good for you. It worked out really good for you, because you had a trip
drove to the valley, then I flew to freaking Dallas. Then I spent Christmas Day by myself, miserable, just getting drunk in Dallas. Then I woke up. You woke me up. I did my Don Draper hangover routine, and we went into the bowl game. Yeah, it was a great time. And we walked the entire entire perimeter, pretty much, of SMU Stadium to get where
it was fun. We had a good time. I have no regrets about that.
If we play in Dallas, I think just road trip action. That would be nice.
But on a Tuesday, like, that's my problem.
Bring back the Palm Bowl, where we won the 2 national titles, and it's in the Valley anyway.
By the way, you know who Texas State beat for that first national championship?
Who?
North Dakota State.
Really?
Yeah.
Look at our little worlds colliding.
I know.
Some would call it fate that I ended up covering this team.
Kelly Danfus has talked about getting the old merch machine going. If we can get retro-made shirts where Bobcats over North Dakota State, and I know that's kind of tricky because you got to get a licensing for both. We got
Elite Sports right now, bro.
Well, you got to get the licensing for both, because
we just circumnavigate that. Let's just do national champs year to year.
Okay, but that's a whole different shirt. I want the retro-made shirt of those two schools, the helmets colliding. Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's
unless we bootleg them and then we sell them like how these guys sell them by the Frostbank Center.
Jeez Louise. I saw the coolest Victor Wembanyama unlicensed shirt the other day.
They're all the best.
It was incredible. It was Area 51, and it was Wimby and Castle looking like aliens wearing the jerseys. So cool.
Shout out to the Spurs sucking a fat one on the biggest game that they've played in like the last 3 years, the NBA Cup.
Yeah, but who cares about the NBA Cup? I've said that for years.
But guess what? If the league cares, shouldn't everybody care?
No.
And LeBron did this whole thing where like, oh, we don't even care about the NBA Cup. They won it last year. What are you talking about?
He popped champagne last year. I get it. Do we have anything else are we missing? Oh, basketball has been on a heater. So shout out Coach Johnson and company. Now,
and guess who's coming on the show next week?
Well, I was going to say, he's supposed to come on the show next week. He's been famous for ducking us. There's been a couple times where
maybe ducking you, because
that's probably
when I pitched the interview with you and me.
I get it. I wouldn't want to talk to me either.
Yeah. This week it was almost going to be a solo like an interview episode with me and him, and then you.
When did this happen?
We're just gonna do like an after action. This was like early Monday before I got the contract.
I didn't even realize that was like what the plan was. But all right,
you've been busy.
I
didn't even give you that rundown.
That's wild. All right, that's fine. I'm here for it.
But he ended up being busy with something else. So
yeah, hopefully recruiting.
Yeah. This team looks visibly bigger. If you're not paying attention and you're like, what the heck? The thing that you'll remember from seasons of yore is that Texas State has kind of been like undersized.
God, they were so small last year.
They're super teeny weeny.
And
now these guys are very big.
If you've come to the podcast for the first time, we'll say the story quickly here. Last year, we went to a game. I didn't even want to go to the post game.
We should have gone the entire time.
We should have gone to the post. Well, I was also tired, but yeah, we should have gone to the post game.
I drove, by the way, and he was throwing a fit in my passenger seat, and he was like, God, there's so much traffic. I'm like, Zimmel, I'm the one that's driving right now, and I also have to go to work right now.
Yeah, that's true. But who was it? It was the Air Force or the Army draft guy.
Oh,
the Army.
Colton Benson.
Yeah, he was walking next to me. I had like 3 inches on him. So I was like talking crazy. Didn't realize he was a player. So
I'm not sure he's playing. I think he might be hurt.
Fragile bones.
Drew
Small guy.
Drennan is playing though. So
Yeah.
I'm glad Coach Johnson and them are finding some early success because I know in years past, the past like 2 years, really, it's been pretty tough slugging.
Well, the way that Casper did it is he would kind of put some cupcake scheduled games in the beginning, warm up games, and then when conference came around, we were like 20-1. And you're like, wow, that's like pretty impressive.
Look at us.
And maybe that's the way to do
like
it.
We played like nobody. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you play Tarleton State, you play SFA, you play like, St. Mary's.
Look at us.
Palm
We're 5-3 overall. How about that?
Yeah, I know. We're looking good.
Dude, do you remember when like a week ago people were like, we gotta fire Coach Johnson? And he was like,
me.
And it was like we were like 1-2 at the time. It was like, calm down. We have played like 3 games.
I never do that. I do it at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I'm a seasonal guy.
We played at Fort Worth. We played at TCU, very close, 71-76.
Yeah, that was a shocker.
Yeah, and then we beat Princeton. Take that, Ivy League.
We watched that game, Will and I.
Badass invite.
And I told him this. I forget who we were with. Somebody else, and we were talking about Will saying, "Oh, it's my shoulder," or it's he's a big fan of college. Yeah, so
the Godfather Part 2. Yeah. And they
fun times.
Host Rice on Sunday, so if you're trying to really haze some Smarties, go to that game. Shout some stuff at those brainiacs over there.
And that game's in San Marcos
on Sunday.
How many Rice fans are going to show up for that game?
I think quite a few. Do we have a?
I don't think so.
No, you don't think Rice cares about us anymore?
I just don't think that they're making the 3-hour trip to San Marcos for a basketball game in early December.
You know what I thought of recently? Like Luke McCaffrey played on Rice's football team last year, right? The last full year, I guess, of Mike Bloomgren. And then like he did like a microcosm of his brother's career, because his brother played at Stanford, really smarty pants school. So he did the same thing at the smarty pants school in Texas. I think that's funny.
And he plays for the Washington Commanders. So
really? Does he?
Yeah. I'm a big Luke McCaffrey fan.
Does he do anything?
He's kind of like a
Bruce Vaughn guy.
Like a slot back type of guy. You can put him out in cover or put him out in out of the slot. It's fine. He hasn't done anything for me in fantasy. So
I do have a Sincere McCormick, so I'm really kind of rooting for a UTSA Roadrunner at this point.
Well, I play for the championship in 2 weeks, so yeah, I got Ryan this week. Gonna roll through him.
I hope so, buddy. I hope so.
And then it's me and Journey.
I hope you get everything you want in life.
Yeah.
I hope God gives you all your blessings.
I think I will. I think I also might get a FOIA for the next contract that comes out.
Yeah, you don't even know what FOIA stands for.
Thanks for swearing, everybody.
We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges. Better not come any closer.
Thanks for listening. New episodes out every Thursday. Follow the boys on Twitter. Eat 'em up. Eat 'em up.